All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the 5th grade Parent Access Night. I'm Miss Reef. I'm behind the camera. I'm the Dean of Academics, and I will be hosting this tonight, but mostly our awesome 5th grade team will be the ones talking. If you have any questions or if something comes up, you can always post your question in the chat box. And just to start us off, I went ahead and put my email address in here. So we definitely want to welcome. We have quite a few parents here this evening. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to pass it over to our 5th grade team. They can introduce themselves and take it away.
I'm Miss Mosley. I have 5th grade science this year. It's been a good year so far, so we're excited to keep going along.
I'm Mrs. Tapia. I teach math.
Mrs. De La Cruz. I teach reading and language arts to 5B and 5D.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Halbert, and I teach language arts to 5A and C and social studies.
Okay. Did you guys have any topics that you wanted to cover this evening? Anything that's been coming up lately that you might want to?
Sure. So we definitely want to ask that you please, if you have not yet responded to our request for home visits, that you please either email us, send a note home, or send a note to school with your kiddo. We truly do appreciate those families that have responded to us, but if you want us to stop bugging you about it, we need those responses.
And also, if you have not been added on to our Class Dojo link, please make sure that you go on. We have sent invites to each parent. We put a lot of important information in Class Dojo, such as the upcoming parent-teacher conferences next Thursday evening. We also have the sign-up link in Class Dojo for you to sign up for your time,
as well as the newsletters that are posted there weekly.
So just to clarify for anybody that doesn't already know, the parent-teacher conferences next week will be from 4 to 7:30 p.m. So your students will still have their regular full day of school. If they have a club on that, it's on next Thursday. If they have a club that day, it's still going to be happening. And so the teachers will begin conferences from 4 to 7:30. And these are just really quick little 10-minute conferences. Y'all have more?
I just wanted to say about math. We finally got our software going, which is alex.com, ALEKS. All the students have their logins at this point, so they can definitely work on that at home if they're wanting to get them a little supplemental going on. If they've forgotten their logins, they know where to find them at school. So no excuses. They all know how to log in.
Another thing that kind of goes along with that is the single sign-on website that we have now rolled out. So it comes up as Rapid Portal if you're looking at it, but it's my.harmonytx.org. And if you're having any trouble getting into that, you can log in with your student's student ID number, which can be found on Skyward if you're having any issues with that. And their password, just the generic password that they were given, was 123ASD, but most of them have probably changed it, and it will be up to them to remember what that is if it's not 123ASD. That single sign-on portal, it has an Alex link on it. It has Think Central. It has iStation, Myon. It has Google Classroom. So that's our effort in sort of streamlining all of the crazy websites that you have to go to. If you can get into the my.harmonytx.org portal, then you can access Skyward and everything without having to input their username and password every time. They just click on the link and it takes them to that website.
And just kind of off of Mrs. Tapia's comment about extra practice, if you feel like your kid needs extra practice, the portal is a great resource because they have access to everything we have in class, as well as additional applications. So there's a lot of them that are there for additional support. You know, a lot of kids need help with typing. There's Nitro Type, and the kids love it. It's real easy. It just gets them used to kind of using a keyboard. There's apps for every subject, so it's a really good resource for everybody.
Yeah. Do y'all have any questions?
I have one question. With the Alex and No Red Ink, is that just practice, or will they actually be doing that for a grade?
Alex is not a grade as far as
It's
I know.
not, no.
Right.
Rating is not a grade.
Yeah, those are usually lab time activities, and so those are not a graded assignment. Those are supplemental, extra practice. They are also really great. I have more experience with Alex, so we might have to have y'all talk to us about No Red Ink, but Alex specifically, it's kind of like the MAP test program where it targets where their successes are, where their struggles are, and it adjusts to them, and it tracks their progress for us.
Yeah, I just asked because she does it in high school, but they actually do it for grade. That's why I was asking.
Okay.
You all started that,
Sometimes
yeah.
I'll take an average grade sometimes when they're doing Myon to make sure that they're reading books that are on their level or close. And usually after they've completed a book and done the book review, as well as the quizzes, I will sometimes go in at least once in 9 weeks and take like an average of 3 quizzes for Myon grade.
Okay.
Now, having said that, that it's not for grade, there is a school requirement for Alex minutes. It's 3 times per week, 45 minutes each, or a total of 2 hours.
And Alex is like Miss Mosley was talking about, it's really good at sort of pinpointing the area where your student needs to work. And so that's another thing that we look at when we're collecting information on how frequently the students are working in Alex. It's also how many modules or tasks that they've been able to accomplish. So it's a great tracking
It
tool.
starts with an initial knowledge check, and some of the kids, since we just got it last week, are still taking that initial knowledge check. And so if they just have no idea how to do it, they put I don't know, and then so when they get into the lessons, it'll teach them how to do it. It's a great program. I really like it.
Yeah.
With Myon, I was just thinking about, in order for the kids to be reading appropriate books that are on their level, when they go to their name, they can click on user and then click on, there's a little I for information. That will tell what their current Lexile level is based on their beginning of the year assessment. And that way you can look, because, you know, they like to do graphic books, comic books, high interest kinds of things, which is great. But you want to be sure that they're looking at, or, you know, picking things from different genres as well. So that way, if their Lexile level is a 625, you know, to adjust, I mean, you can go up to what, 100 points higher, 50-something points lower. They can read books for, you know, just for pleasure, like those things, as well as they're making other choices too.
And just in case you are unfamiliar with Myon is our reading program that sort of took over AR. So students take a test at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of year. Do they do it throughout as well, like every quarter?
It's like assessments, but not the formal ones.
Okay, that's what it does, like an
That's like
update every once in a while for the
That's why
Lexile
their
level.
Lexile changes.
Okay, and so students then have access to online library where they can read those books and take some quizzes. And then Alex is our math. And then we also with ELA have iStation that students have also just gotten access to recently. So they'll be taking their little beginning of the year assessments with that will help give the teachers an idea of what lessons to assign within iStation. And then we also have STEM scopes on there.
Right. STEM scopes, we use it in class almost on a daily basis. I kind of modify the STEM scopes activities and then post them for the kids through our Google Classroom. I find the interface on STEM scopes a little confusing to families, especially at home. So yes, we do use that content, but I kind of modify it and I push it out on the Google Classroom. And so the kids definitely know how to get into Google Classroom. They know how to access those assignments. And so those are pushed out and kids can access those anywhere that they can get on Google Classroom. STEM Scopes is available to them through the portal, but again, I find that it's usually kind of confusing for families to navigate. Please reach out to me. We can post my email for you.
Yeah.
If you have questions on STEM Scopes on how to access it, you know, if there's a conference time or a meeting time, I can show you. That's one of those things that is best learned by doing and seeing and observing. So I don't want to go through the steps of getting into it now. But again, we do almost everything through the Google Classroom. So just make sure you keep checking those science Google Classrooms.
And Miss Mosley just recently got married, so her email is different than her
Last name.
last name. Do y'all want to talk a little bit about houses and house party coming up?
Sure. Okay, so the house program is new to us. Our house point system, we started this year. Every kid was assigned a house. We have 4 houses: Ursa, Leo, Columba, and
Aquila.
Aquila. I always forget Aquila. I don't know why that one's so hard for my brain. Yeah. So we have those 4 houses, and each kid was randomly assigned. They have teachers who were also randomly assigned to the house. We had a whole selection process. So Thursday, which is the, help me out, 28th? 29th? 27th? Oh,
Thursday.
it's okay. I don't know. I write it on the board and I constantly forget it. So
Don't tell the winner.
we are not telling the winner, but every month, the house with the most points gets to have a party. Every house meets once a month, but the house with the most points awarded gets a party, and that will be whatever day they select. It'll be 9th period of that day.
I love what the other houses do. If your house is not the house with the top number of points, the other houses will have a meeting, multi-grade level meeting with their teacher, advisor, whatever. And I don't know, as a former school counselor, I love this concept. I just love it, that we're doing character traits and we're talking about, you know, ways to be kind, what it really means. So kindness is our topic for this first house meeting. And I think it's just going to be a great way to incorporate social skills and character for our kids with a different trait highlighted every month.
Yeah.
And so you might be wondering, why does my kid get points? Where do they get points? Any teacher can assign any student a point to their house. What we're looking for is exhibiting those strong character traits. What we're looking for is kids who reinforce the positives on campus. There is no negative. There is no, we deduct points from your house. This is very much, how do we support you? How do we grow as characters? How do we grow as people?
As a community too.
As a community.
School, it really brings kids together in different grade levels and really does help with even like respect for the building, that kind of thing. It's so fun to see, you know, a child who you don't know maybe is in 1st grade as a 5th grade teacher to say, dude, that was the coolest thing ever that you just helped her with the door when her books were falling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what house are you in? And, you know, they know to, you know, it's all a surprise. So, but we always let the kids know, you know, what house are you in? Your house has been assigned a point. So that's kind of how they build and grow.
And they were all given lanyards that coordinate with the color.
Ms.
of
Halbert
their house.
has kind of what their lanyard looks like.
Kalamba.
Yes. Yeah, so they have color coordinated, it's a long day. Color coordinated lanyards for their houses. And every student was given one when they were assigned their house. So you might have seen one coming home. Please make sure your kid is wearing it so that we can assign them the points. You know, we know the kids ourselves in our classroom, but if there's a kiddo running down the hallway, not running, sorry, bad choice of words there, following directions perfectly, exactly as we want them to be in the hallway, we want to be able to see that lanyard and just assign that point. So it's a very useful thing to have that lanyard
It's cool
on.
if there is someone running, but there's someone not. There's
Yeah.
someone on the 2nd square, but there's another side swiper weaving in and out to stop that 2nd square follower and assign them a house point, boy, man, does it has an impact on those
does.
kiddos right around them making different choices.
And so on Thursday, when the houses are meeting, your student can wear their house color that day. So Ursa is green, Leo is purple, Columba is maroon, and Aquila is blue. And they are allowed to wear jeans on Thursday. So jeans and house color shirts. And then the winning house on Wednesday, tomorrow, will receive each student of that house will receive an envelope with directions that will tell them something a little bit different. So if your child is in the winning house, make sure that you're looking out for that envelope.
I have a question going back to the AR and the whole reading thing, right? So have we gone away from the AR totally at this point?
Yes.
Only Mayan?
Yes.
Okay, so we used to have this kind of, some kind of
Incentive building.
competition and then the field trip at the end of the year and all that. Have we brought something to replace that with the AR?
The Mayan program.
Mayan system, or I thought that worked well. It kind of motivated the kids to read a lot,
Mm-hmm.
which was little lacking last year, to be honest, based on how the new system was brought in.
So this was actually a topic that was brought up last Friday. We had coffee with the admin or coffee talk or something like that. And another parent actually mentioned that he would also like to have some type of competition thing, the incentive program that goes along with the reading. And so that is something that we're going to start working on. With Mayan, it's a little bit harder to track, but I do believe that we can implement something based on their quizzes.
Maybe minutes or
Yeah.
accomplishing another lifestyle or something.
Book It is a program that we're getting ready to start that will also be a motivational thing where there are things at the end that are reward type things. So, and it'll track number of books. So I think this goes October to March. Is it one of the 6 points? That's the 60 minutes. I don't know. There's
Look at it, Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut sponsored
Mm.
this.
People always have that, yeah.
So we had another parent say, my daughter has mentioned that she can't keep up with all the writing of notes during the ELA lecture. Do the kids have access to the slides and videos shown during ELA so they can review them at home?
They have access on Google Classroom.
Okay, so all of that information is available on Google Classroom. If you haven't been able to log in at home yet, it is available through that single sign-on portal that I was talking about earlier. If you don't want to go through that, you can also go classroom.google.com, and your student email is just their ID number at student.harmonytx.org. And then the students, whenever they click to log into the Google Classroom website, by putting in that email, it will automatically redirect them to that single sign-on portal where they'll put in their username and 123 ASD again. And so everything is going to sort of redirect them to all go streamline with that portal.
And for fifth graders, their password is welcome to HPS 2018. They were all reset just to make sure everybody was on the same page. Welcome has a capital W and the HPS is capital as well. So that's the password that they will use unless they have gone in and changed it themselves. Then they should know that password that they changed it to.
So that's the password for Google Classroom?
For the
Their email?
the portal.
Oh,
So welcome with a capital W to DO HPS all caps 2018.
okay.
Another question about Mayan. Is it mandatory or is it supplemental like the Alex and?
There are a number of minutes required, and it kind of depends on what their beginning of the year assessment came out as.
Okay.
Some we like them to have like 90 minutes a week, some 30, some 60. So that'll all be adjusted once we, get all of that information.
So if there is a situation where a student, I don't know, doesn't find what is interesting within his or her like style level within the MyOn system, do they have any other options to do that, accrue the reading minutes?
I've been kind of thinking about that because I know Epic is one that they really like to use. It's another online library that has lots of good chapter books, some higher level things. So we'll look into finding some other ways to get those minutes. Yeah.
Maybe just a reading wall.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know a lot of the kids love MyOn. They've
wanna
asked like
do it
during
all the
math class, can I get on MyOn? I'm like, no, it's math. But yeah, they really like it.
It's like when you tell them to go on MyOn, a sudden cheer breaks out.
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
super
yeah.
fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
They really enjoy it, I know.
Question, going back to the parent conferences, but in the houses, does it really, like, what are y'all trying to ask for as when y'all say, can we go to your house? Like, for student what?
Oh, a home visit?
Yeah,
Home
visit.
So home visits are a really great program. A lot of schools have kind of done away with them, but I like that Harmony does still keep this program up. It's just so that you get to know us outside of the classroom. So I'm not just Miss Mosley, the science teacher.
In their
You get to,
environment.
right, you
Regular
get to
people.
kind of see us outside, and it helps also for, us to see the kids. They're not just a student in a classroom, they have a lot of other things going on in their lives as well. So it's kind of building that community, that understanding of each other and knowing where everybody's coming from. There is not a huge expectation that we spend hours and hours with you. Some of them turn into that because it's just kind of it's a fun time. Miss Toppy and I had one, we made French macaroons with the family.
And the time flew by.
It flew by. So, we would love to come see you. It's not a requirement. We don't want to force ourselves on you. We're not offended if you say no, but we would love to get to know you a little bit more.
Field trips. This year, are we doing 1 or 2 field trips this year?
Miss Reed, I'm gonna field that one to you because you're gonna know better than we do.
No pun intended.
So right now, we haven't talked much about any field trips at all. But we're hoping to be able to do one. We're asking the teachers to find places that don't cost quite as much because the thing that costs the most is actually making sure that we have buses for the kids. So if they can find a place that's not really very expensive, then we pay for that out of our activity fund and the buses as well.
Just to throw some ideas out there, please don't get caught too much on this because again, budget is going to be a thing, but some things I've thought about, the Dallas Zoo, they do like student days and science days. So we're looking into that one. There's another one, the Perot Museum, I think does free or very inexpensive admission for students. So that one, and the kids absolutely love it. I've also looked, this might be a logistical nightmare, Mrs. Reed, but there's one that I so want to do. If you've ever heard of Dinosaur Valley State Park, yeah, it's a little bit closer than Fossil Rim, but it's actually free for kids under 12. So that's all of our kids.
Right.
Again, it would be great. We'd only have to be paying, for the adults that are attending the chaperones. I've reached out, they're willing to possibly give us like a guide so they can talk, guide us through some places. So again, might be a logistical nightmare. Please don't hold me to it, but that's kind of an idea that I've been tossed around. And it's weather dependent as well. Like this time of year is very rainy, so it's not worth going. It might have to be a spring one. But then again, it's a fight with the heat, so. But if it's been really rainy, the water is too high and you don't even get to see the fossil footprints. So we'd have to time it just right.
We definitely want all of the grade levels to be able to do at least one field trip. 2 is like a luxury for us, but since we do not collect money for field trips. It all comes out of our activity fund budget. So that's always sort of the tricky part. Any other questions?
From a fifth grade experience perspective, is there anything else as parents that we should know, or how are you preparing them for middle school, or any key milestones to watch out for, or anything in generally in that area?
I think one of the key things, and it was Dela Cruz and I both keep notebooks, interactive notebooks or binders or something where you'll see notes or diagrams and they'll all be dated with the table of contents. I'm really trying to play catch up right now with getting all of that done after being out for too long. So that to me is a great communication tool for families. Again, once I get it going, I think we only have 3 entries in my reading notebook and 2 or 3 in the social studies one, but it provides a great, what the question that's always asked, what did you do at school today? And I always say nothing, and that drives me crazy. So we've practiced that dialogue. You don't say nothing. You say, well, look at my interactive notebook, and here's what we talked about today, and these things prepared me for my CBA, and we're so it gives a great starting point just to ask questions. That those interactive notebooks, I think we both have them coming home and going back daily. Once it's a great tool to just use for study too, and enrichment ideas that you can take further from that springboard. So I think the note taking and that kind of thing is a huge preparation for middle school.
Absolutely.
For them to learn how to figure out what's important in a subject, and with us modeling that by the note taking, it's a great skill, and I think it's more beneficial than teaching them how to use a highlighter on a reading passage. How do you know what's the meat of the content, and it helps them with the summarizing too. So,
And then one of the things with the note taking, like I know a parent said that there was concern about her child not being able to keep up with notes. I know as far as the notes go in the classroom, I like my kids to put their own identity into their notes. So I ask them to take notes in a way that helps them to study. So they don't have to do exactly what I do with my notes. And it's difficult now because it's new. Because they're used to getting the cutouts, pasting everything in, or just copying exactly what's on the board. But as preparing them to go to middle school and knowing that they won't even have one teacher for 3 subjects, but they will have a different teacher for every subject, then they have to be ready to take on that responsibility of taking those notes. And it will get better over time. It's difficult right now because, like I said, it's fresh.
It's a new skill.
So it'll get better for them as the year goes along, that they'll become experts at it by the time the end of the school year comes. So when they move to middle school, they've already got that foundation
ready to write research papers.
Yeah.
So, and you keep them organized. It teaches organization to have everything in the binder or everything in a notebook, and to have that table of contents reflect what the titles are each day. It's totally new for a lot of them. They're at all different levels with being able to handle that responsibility, but we'll be building on that for sure.
Before I taught 5th grade last year, I taught 6th grade. So I know what is required of them academically and socially. So I try to encourage more self-reliance and self-sufficiency in the classroom. My bathroom policy is I'm not teaching, just take the pass and go. I want them to be able to make their own decisions. They know where all the supplies are. There's not, Miss, can I get this? Miss, can I get that? You know you need it, go ahead and get it. So I really, because and a lot of the 6th graders that have come back to talk to me, they talk about how there's, first of all, the biggest thing is a whole lot of homework. So if I could encourage all parents to check with their student each night, every night homework. Yeah, even if it's not something that they need to do at home, it might be something we finished in class. They should have it with them for the next day. So yeah, I'm trying to encourage that self-sufficiency because they really need that, when they go over to the junior high.
And then one of the things that I've even talked to with my kids is that your binders, your notes are not just there for decoration. They are for you to study every day. So when they say they don't have homework, they really do, because they need to study whatever the skill or concept is each day. And if they keep studying each thing every day, then when it builds up to us having
The
a
DA.
DA for all 9 weeks, then they have those skills. So my rule is 10 minutes, 24 hours, 7 days. So a minimum of 10 minutes of studying every day, the notes for every 24 hours, and it has to be 7 days a week, even on weekends. Just as a refresher. So always putting that concept in every day. I'm sorry.
It's the time of year when it happens.
It's also the time management for us too, because those 45-minute sessions just go by so fast. And if you want to build on what you talked about yesterday, it's real hard if you go back and have to spend a lot of time reteaching, reviewing. Not that we don't do that for kiddos who need it, but that kind of thing we like to have done at lab time, intervention group time, so that our reading skill time can really be instructionally fluid and building.
And then it's just even that responsibility of taking the journal home and bringing it back every day. Like, I can't leave this at home because I have to have this for my notes. All the way up through 4th grade, they kept them in the classroom every day. So when it came time to study for a test, there was nothing to study. And we knew that that was a pitfall. So it was a matter of, let's hand over the ownership and the responsibility. So if they forget their binders, they have to make a point to still get the notes, figure out how to get it organized into what they missed that day. So one of the things that also is preparing them, they have to take ownership if they're absent for a day. I'm not gonna remember, I have 44 kids every day, so I'm not gonna remember if one person is absent. So they need to get me or another student and say, can I copy your notes or another student's notes for the day and get what I missed? Like, it's not, I want the student to take the responsibility, not even the parent emailing us to say, my student was absent, can you give them this work? The student should be able to approach me the next day and say, Ms. De La Cruz, I was absent, can I please have the makeup work, or can I get notes from somebody? Like, I want them to take that ownership. They, at this age, have to take ownership in their own education. It can't be all on the teachers, it can't be all on the parents. So the kids, it's time for them to really,
I think
take
even
that
with
step
kids
up.
who leave the classroom to go, even if it's for, if it's for the GT program, if it's for work with a speech therapist, whatever it is, even then, I feel like, I used to be more, you're excused from this because you were out doing enrichment or whatever. But again, it impedes the flow of transitioning to higher level topics. So we like for all of the kids, whether they're absent for a day or they're out for a program or dentist appointment or whatever it is, they need to be in charge of that.
Anybody else have questions? Y'all good? Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much to the people who joined us online, and thank you for these parents and families that came, and thank you to our 5th grade team for staying late today and sharing all this information with us. We appreciate you. And I have the emails all loaded here in the chat box, so please feel free to email us if you have any other questions or concerns that come up. So have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.